Today we have Serbin Cruzada joining me, a good friend. He's been my good friend for a long time. I met him during middle school, and we've been very good friends throughout our lives, and even up to this day, which has been a period of over 10 years, I think.
Definitely.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, like 11 years now, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Welcome onto the podcast, Serbin. I'm
Thank
excited
you.
to have you on.
Excited to be here.
All
Thank you for
right.
having me.
Of course. Okay, let's get started here. So I want to start off with a question that I ask all my guests.
Okay.
What is your story?
My story.
Yeah.
Wow. I would say my story really began on the tail end of high school. I would say before that time period, I was kind of trying to figure myself out without realizing I was trying to figure myself out. I was kind of just coasting through life, the routine of going to school, seeing friends, just stuff like that every day. Around, I'd say 11th grade is when I kind of started breaking out of my shell, mostly in part to just trying new things, good and bad. And I've been growing from there. I still see myself as like a little sapling growing into a blossoming tree one day, but yeah, I'm getting there.
Mhm. Always on the path to growth.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
That's
Definitely.
beautiful. It's beautiful. Actually, I know that as of lately, especially within the last year, you've been actively participating more in clubs,
Yeah,
a lot of school events and activities.
yeah.
How would you say that that's shaped or influenced who you are today? Has giving your time and energy into these types of projects and community groups really shaped you or impacted you in any way?
Definitely. Especially, I transferred to CSUN this past semester,
Mhm.
and joining clubs and participating in extracurricular activities, kind of get exposed to different people, different environments, just putting myself out there in more uncomfortable situations. I'd definitely say I'm getting comfortable to these kinds of things, especially back in high school. I would have never done anything like this.
Yeah.
So seeing myself put myself out there, making myself do these kinds of things,
Mhm.
it's really rewarding, and you kind of see the fruits of your labor, especially within the community that you build around you. Seeing like different faces and seeing everybody smiling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really fulfilling to be a part of and to see.
Mhm. Yeah, especially because you contribute to that growth yourself. So you see your efforts growing and then you see the returns on that
Right.
specifically within. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Looking back on your life, what moments have shaped your life and impacted you to be who you are today? Can you think of anything in particular or a specific moment, or even if it's not a specific moment, maybe a phase of life that was very important and very impactful to you?
Right. I brought this up in the last podcast, but
Mhm.
being in an almost 3-year relationship and then ending things,
Right.
not particularly amicable, but
Mhm.
just going through the motions of heartbreak and trying to find happiness within myself.
Yeah.
I would definitely say that that period of my life is where I've seen the most growth, and from what I can reflect on. Like I said, I didn't really break out of my shell until 11th grade.
Mhm.
Got into a relationship at the end of 12th grade, and it's like you see the world in gray, and then you get into a relationship and everything is super happy and nice, and you start to see a little bit more color in your world.
Yeah.
And you get to share moments and emotions with another person, and the bond you build is so strong. And having that, and I had to find out how to be happy within myself and how to make myself happy.
Mhm.
And that's kind of where I've seen the most growth, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you brought up the point of seeing color
Yeah.
when you're in a relationship, and it actually made me think of the phrase rose tinted glasses,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And like just hearing how you described it, like it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just so much gravity in
Mhm.
that kind of situation where you build such an intimate bond with another human being.
Right.
And it's so different from like a bond you build with a close friend. Just kind of that idea of being psychologically seen and
Mhm.
seeing someone psychologically, just being a person for someone, and then being that person for someone else as well. It's a weird feeling, but emotions are so logical, and there's so much gravity behind the situation that
Mhm.
yeah, you kind of your world kind of flips upside down after that.
Yeah.
But this is coming from the context of me not having experienced much before that 11th grade time period, and kind of getting used to that idea and experiencing it for myself.
Right. You said that you mostly broke out of your shell around 11th grade.
Mm-hmm.
What happened for you to break out of your shell? Was it a shift in mindset, or was it an event that happened to you? What was it specifically? Can you remember?
I would say it's just it's more so just experimenting with different things in life. I think 11th grade is when I started drinking, or when I started smoking weed.
Yeah.
But just exploring different things outside of like the relatively comfortable life that I've lived. That's probably what kind of started it all. I think 11th grade is when I like started going to high school parties and meeting different people. But I think all of those things kind of build up into breaking out of your shell, I guess. Because before that, I was kind of just within the small bubble of our friend group, and not really exploring much outside of that.
That's true.
So yeah, kind of doing bad things, but shaped me for who I am today.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. Well, they led to positive experiences.
Definitely.
So it's not entirely, I wouldn't say it's entirely bad that you did those activities, especially considering the outcome.
Right.
Yeah. So something I want to ask you specifically is about role models. So do you have a role model or someone that you look up to?
I wouldn't say I have a role model, but I grab different pieces from everybody within our friend group. I guess those things kind of shape me. What's that phrase like? You're like a pigment of your friends, or something like that. I don't know.
You're an accumulation of, or something along the lines of, you are the person that you surround yourself with.
Right.
Like your 10 closest friends that you spend the most time with shape who you are. Right.
Yeah.
So you'd say mostly friends.
Definitely within the friend group. You can think of, for example, for you kind of have this very disciplined mind, which I kind of look at and see as something I should instill within myself. Because I know how hard it is to be very disciplined.
Yeah.
Someone like Chris, I think Chris is very wise. He has such a logical way of thinking outside of, because he has that outside perspective. And I think hearing his perspective is very eye-opening.
Right.
Yeah, like this past week when we went camping, he brought the idea of trying to be patient and kind to yourself, which is very true, and something I definitely kind of forgotten to do.
Right.
So yeah, just everybody within the friend group, definitely take bits and pieces from everybody.
Is there anyone that you do look up to that is outside of our friend group? anyone whose beliefs that you identify with or you believe and follow and try to incorporate into your life in any fashion?
Can't really think of anybody off the top of my head, but
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
When a lot of people think about role models, a lot of people as well think about family, right? They look to their dads or their older brothers. Would you say that your family or your family members have influenced you to be who you are, either in a positive or negative way? Like you see something that a family member does, and you see the negative consequences, so you try not to follow in their footsteps.
Yeah, definitely my dad.
Mm.
He's like the kindest person I know,
Mm-hmm.
and he's also the hardest working person I know.
Mm.
He'll, especially when he was raising me when I was 5 or just throughout life, actually, he would wake up 5 a.m., go to work by 5:30,
Wow.
come back home by 4. So just 12-hour days every day, and he would never complain. He would always come back home, cook dinner for us.
Mm.
You know, just stuff like that. And it's something I definitely take for granted, but it's something to keep in mind of how much I should be appreciative of for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think our fathers have such a big influence on who we grow up to be. And it's really important for us to also recognize how much our parents have sacrificed, right?
Yeah.
Especially in like how much they've given to us and how much they continue to give to us unconditionally.
Yeah.
Right. And it's so easy to kind of forget because you don't see it, right? It's all effort that has happened, or it's not something that you can like hold.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just there. And
they would always put themselves, they would always put me or my siblings before themselves without question.
Yeah.
And I would never see them complain about it at all.
Right.
They would love to do it, and they would do it again if they could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we need to just take more time to appreciate.
Yeah.
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 Because it's so easy to forget, so easy to take for granted, but we don't realize just how much it means, you know?
Yeah.
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 What excites you? What energizes you?
Yeah. That's a great question. I think music excites me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got into the world of music around the peak of pandemic. So like to like March 2020. And entering that world has just opened so much for me in terms of creatively exploring myself. And you know, I'll listen to a song and I'll hear this chord. I'll hear this chord and I'm like, damn, that's such a nice chord.
Yeah.
And then I'll listen to the song again and I'll be like, damn, that bass line just grooves so well with the song. And you know, I don't fully understand it. I think music is one of those things that takes a lifetime to learn.
Yeah.
But just the way music can kind of move you or make you feel different things. It's such a beautiful thing. Music excites me so much.
Music. I actually started playing piano because of you, because I was inspired by your journey and your progress playing the piano. Actually, why I started playing. I've noticed that after I started playing piano, I have more of a musical ear, if that makes sense. Like I hear different things.
Yeah, I noticed the exact same thing within myself. Yeah.
Like when I hear an old song, I hear a melody playing in the back that I never noticed before.
Yeah.
I think it's such a beautiful thing about music.
I love that. Yeah. It's just you could hum a song and then someone next to you will know exactly what you're singing, and then all of a sudden everybody's singing the same song, and then kind of just join in. You start tapping your foot to make like the rhythm of the drums, kind of imitate that, and then everybody's just singing along. It's a sight. It's a sight to see for sure.
How has music shaped or has it influenced your creativity in any way? Like it's allowed you said that it allows you to express more of who you are.
Yeah.
Could you expand upon that a little more?
I would say it's mostly when I'm like alone in my room playing piano. I'll try to improv some like melody, or I'll try to kind of play. I'll try to play the piano to the way I'm feeling at the time, and it's such a therapeutic experience, to be honest. Like if I'm feeling real angry, I'll start like going ham on the keyboard, like just real heavy on the bass on the left side, and then just like try to make a little song. Usually it's always bad, to be honest, but it's kind of like I'm releasing my emotions through the sounds that I'm creating. And it's such a beautiful thing to do. It's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
And I never would have had that outlet if I never ended up trying to teach myself how to play.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Do you play with the intention of trying to, or actually what would be your main intention when you play? Is it mainly to play out your emotions and express what you're feeling at the moment?
No, I would say me trying to play my emotions, it kind of just comes naturally. I think most of the time I sit down in front of the piano, it's with the intention to learn more, whether that be like learning a new jazz standard or just practicing scales, those kinds of things. But I get distracted. Pretty easily. So I'll like start off for like 5 minutes and then I'll just switch around a bunch. So it's pretty hard for me to have like structured practice. But it's definitely something I could build that habit up of.
Right.
But yeah, I never sit down I usually don't sit down with the intention to play my emotions out. That kind of just happens after I fiddle around for a bit. And then, I could feel the emotions stirring up and then I just let out. Yeah.
It's just something that happens naturally while you play.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that this is something that is relatively recent. It's around 3 years, 2 or 3 years for you. Has it evolved alongside you? I know that your music has definitely gotten better. Has it evolved you as a person? Like has it changed who you are from the beginning, from when you first started? Like, do you think that it's impacted you in any way?
I kind of feel it's made me more creative and more open to doing creative things, I guess. Before piano, I always thought like there's no way I have like a creative mind, or I just always thought I was like more logical or more math based. But I think starting piano, I kind of have been more open to trying new creative things, I guess. Jiyoung and Josh and everybody, they pitched in for me to get a bass. So I've been playing around with the bass a little bit, just exploring more of that whole world of music. But also, I'd be open to try different things. Like I'd love to paint, or I thought about making rugs at one point just because it seemed like a fun creative outlet to do. But yeah, I'd love to go to the park, just draw. I don't, but it seems fun. And I don't think I would have that mindset before the piano.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's really opened up your creativity.
Yeah, definitely.
I see.
It's just another lane that kind of opened up, that just made me want to express myself in different ways.
Have you not felt this amount of creativity in the past doing other forms of arts. We did take a ceramics class together.
Yeah. You should know I hated the ceramics class. But like, yeah, now that I think of it, I'd love to go back and do some more ceramics. Like,
try it out again.
It seems like a lot of fun. Just sit down on the spinny wheel thing and just try to build a bowl or something. You know, that seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, just mold something with your hands and see what comes out.
Yeah. And that was what, 12th grade when we took that ceramics class?
Yeah, 12th grade.
Yeah, so
2018.
Yeah, not even that long ago, where I did not even want to creatively express myself in that way, but it seems like a lot of fun now, and I'd love to definitely try it out again.
Yeah. It's beautiful how this one thing, the fact that you started music, has really changed your perspective, and the fact that it changed your perspective on so many different subjects, right? So many different things. Like music is one form or one outlet, but there's so many different forms of art, right? And there's also so many different forms of music as well. Yeah. Which
just amazing in and of itself. You know, there's rock, which kind of stem from jazz, and then within jazz, you know, there's all types of different subgenres. There's bossa nova, there's blues, there's, you know, it's just a whole world there that you know is worth exploring and kind of figuring out if that's what you're into. You know,
right. How far have you gotten in your bass? Is it bass or
bass?
Okay.
Not very far.
Not very far.
Yeah.
It's an entirely different instrument from the piano, so
it's pretty hard to juggle both instruments.
Yeah,
especially when I barely practice piano properly. So, I think bass would be a lot more fun played in a group setting, and then piano is kind of more fun for me to just fiddle around with at home. Because bass, it you kind of play the groove of the song, and then you like play the rhythm. So you're kind of playing that part, which would be so much fun playing with other people. Right. But with piano, I can control the melody. I can control the rhythm on the left hand. You know, yeah.
I see. So bass is more of a band setting instrument.
Yeah, I mean, at least to me personally, you know, there's a lot of people that just play bass at home and they jam out and they have fun. Not to say bass isn't fun. I think bass is a lot of fun. I've learned a couple songs actually, just playing bass. But yeah, I definitely find myself playing piano a lot more.
So then I'm guessing you wouldn't want to spend much time trying to learn a guitar, right? Because a bass and guitar, I feel are very, at least the skills are very transferable.
Definitely. I mean, I have a guitar at home too, actually. It's very old. So I could play the guitar if I'd like, but it's just a lot to learn a new instrument, I guess.
Right.
If I'm not playing it every day, then I would say of the three instruments, piano, guitar, and bass, there's nothing that really drew me in so hard compared to the piano. Yeah.
Right.
When I started learning piano, I was in a house in Bakersfield, and the piano I was playing on was like this really old electric Yamaha keyboard.
Yeah.
In the garage, and I would just go to my room, go to the garage, and just start playing every night.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of fond memories, but guitar and bass has never really pulled me in that hard compared to the piano.
I see. How do you manage your time? Because you said that you don't practice piano too much, you said. Is that something that you want to do, like have a consistent scheduled piano practice in your days?
I mean, ideally, yeah. Yeah, but I think practice kind of sucks the joy out of playing, but it's kind of essential to progress in your skills and your just being a musician and as a whole.
Would you say that it's a trade-off that you'd have to consider? The freedom of being able to play at your leisure versus having scheduled practice times?
Yeah, it's definitely a trade-off, but at the same time, you get to play more what you want to play as you practice more. So it's kind of just, putting in the work, being disciplined, playing every day. It just has to be done. And if I want to become a better musician, I'll have to practice properly.
Right.
Which is definitely a lot easier said than done. But yeah.
Is becoming proficient and like very well versed within the piano one of your priorities in life right now? Is that something that you want to dedicate a lot of your time and energy towards, or is that something that is just more of a hobby that you do on the side?
I'd definitely say I would. I wouldn't say I would prioritize it over other things like school or work.
Right.
But I don't think it should be too hard to practice like 30 minutes a day or something. Like even 30 minutes a day over time would do so much.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd definitely say it's not necessarily a priority over other things, but it's up there in the list. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned other priorities like school and work. What are your biggest priorities in life right now? I'm curious.
I guess first goal is to graduate. So I have another year left before I graduate. And so I'll need to have an internship by next spring. And then after that, I plan to apply to different master's programs. So just progressing in school is definitely my top priority. And that comes with doing different extracurricular things at school. For example, I'm doing this program for CSUN called Matadors for Wellness, where I'll be going around the campus and giving different lectures or educational talks on health and different things like that. So I'm looking forward to doing that in this coming fall. There's all kinds of things you can do for that program. You can go to like frats or sororities and give lectures on drinking alcohol, or go to school events and have a table there where you're just giving information on things like mental health or safe sex, just those kinds of things. But I'm excited to do it, getting exposed to new situations, meeting new people. And I'll be working with a team of other like-minded students who have that same goal as me.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to getting to know them, getting to know my new instructors in that program, as well as like my new instructors in my upcoming classes for next semester.
Yeah.
I've gone to develop pretty close relationships with some teachers for my previous classes.
Yeah.
And just connecting, networking.
Yeah.
That's probably my top priority. After that, I gotta go to work.
Yeah.
Gotta get paid. Those are my top two priorities. After that, I would say health, physical and mental health. I've been slacking on the gym. It's been about like a month since I've gone, but very high priority of mine to get back on track. But yeah, it's one of the things that Chris reminded me of to remember to be patient and kind to myself. Just because I haven't really been going to the gym, so I've kind of just been at home, just kind of doing nothing all day.
Yeah.
And gym is like a positive feedback loop, right? Like when you go, you feel better throughout the day,
more energized,
and then you'll want to go back to the gym.
Yeah.
Where you'll feel better again. So it's just getting back on the horse. That's up there for my list. Yeah, I'd say those three things are probably my highest priorities right now.
Yeah. You mentioned what Chris said, one of our other friends, what he said to you, which was be kind to yourself. Is mental talk something that you have trouble with? Or do you hear yourself giving a lot of negative self-criticism?
I would say I don't cherish the times where I am happy more than I have negative self-talk. So I don't really think poorly of myself, but I don't really appreciate when I am feeling good about myself, I guess.
Right.
So the reason why Chris brought up the idea of being patient and kind to myself is because he asked the question of like, if I love myself. And I would say I do, but I would say I think I love myself more like last year than I do right now. So I'm not really at the time last year, I definitely took for granted how I felt, just wanting to go to the gym every day.
Yeah.
Over this past year. So I'd say I like kind of stagnated. And I guess the idea that I should see constant growth within myself is a little unfeasible all the time. And just that notion of being patient with yourself, it's not always going to be you're going uphill all the time. Sometimes things kind of level off and that's fine. But it's important to kind of see that you are growing, especially when you're feeling really good about yourself versus like when you're not and you're kind of just in a rut. Yeah. Just that idea of being kind to yourself and taking things for as they are and not dwell on things too much.
Yeah. I think it's a very interesting concept that you bring up, the idea of not loving yourself the same amount at different periods in your life, right? And it just strikes me as so interesting because the concept of loving yourself in that frame makes it sound as if loving yourself is sort of dependent upon, or at least influenced in a sort, in terms of external events as well as how you feel about yourself. Which, I mean, essentially is what love for yourself is, right?
Right.
And it's so interesting because love is something that we should abundantly feel. We should like work towards. I believe that we should work towards to feel more love and give more love. Yet we're so hard on ourselves that we don't feel our own love.
Right. Right. I just don't think it's realistic to constantly have more love for yourself. Yeah. I just don't think that's possible, really. But maybe that's because like my idea of loving myself was how much external growth I can see within myself versus other metrics, which I may not be aware of,
Yeah.
But for me personally, the way that I love myself is seeing how much I've grown. And last year, that was when I was like gymming 6 days a week. I was hitting PRs.
Yeah.
I saw like the most growth in my Spanish speaking abilities and Spanish speaking and listening. Yeah. And I'd say over the past year, I've kind of stagnated in those two areas. But I guess reflecting now, I've seen more growth academically. Just I think kind of being more sure of what I want to do in the future. So there's things that I should be happy for myself, but kind of just stuck in that rut,
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to recognize what you've been working towards because these are different aspects of your life that you've been focusing towards more, right? Like you've been giving up more of your time to study instead of work out, say, for an example.
Right.
And so in that sense, I would say that because of all that you've accomplished in terms of your studying and your community and just more active involvement, especially within your college campus, I think that's a very good enough reason to feel love.
Right.
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 And I also think that it's important to recognize that in life we go through so many different phases, right? Like we go through ups and downs consistently. And that's kind of what life is, right?
Yeah.
It's what makes life so enjoyable, I think. Because like you can't be happy without knowing what it feels like to be sad.
Right.
Right. So it's opposites, and I think it's kind of beautiful that, especially the fact that you're coming to this realization, because yeah, it's not easy. It's so much easier to just go through life and just live in your day to day, but it's hard to look back and recognize, like evaluate your life.
Right.
You know?
Like if you're always looking down to see every step you take, it's hard to look back and realize you've walked a mile, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially to appreciate just how far you've come.
Right.
Like all the work that you've done to get to this point in your life.
Yeah.
Right. Do you believe in fate?
Fate?
Yeah. Do you believe fate, destiny? I'll define it as the idea that your life will turn out a certain way, or at least certain things in your life will happen regardless of what you do.
It's an interesting question. I don't know. I guess the choices you make will kind of shape you. So is the question like there's like a predetermined destiny, or like is it like that, or is it if I do one action it branches off into another?
The branching off is one of the arguments against it. The way that I understand fate is that it's basically events that happen in your life that are essentially predetermined, right? Now, I won't say like it's by a god or a higher being, but your fate has, or your life has a certain path that it's going to walk, at least to certain events in your life. And like those events are going to happen no matter what decisions you make, no matter what choices.
Right. I don't think I would say I believe in fate. I guess I kind of just more so believe that the idea of those branches splitting off. Like if you choose to do one thing, it'll lead to another, which might have been different from another path you might have taken if you decided not to do that first thing.
Right.
But it's tricky. I don't know. I do find myself kind of like, if something happens, I'll be like, oh, thanks, universe. Like, thanks for doing that. But yeah, I don't really know how I feel about it. I just think the future's unknown. I guess whether it is predetermined or not just doesn't really matter to me. Right? If it is predetermined, then it's going to happen anyways. I guess that idea is kind of a slippery slope to me because it brings up the idea that I don't have to do anything because I'll get there anyways.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's a slippery slope to think that your future is already predetermined. Right. And whether it is or not, doesn't really matter to me.
I like that answer.
Yeah.
You mentioned the idea of one action branching off into various different effects. I think it's very similar to the idea of parallel universes, right?
Yeah.
Like the idea that there's an infinite number of universes in where you made a different decision.
Right.
And so it branches off into another outcome, and that could have completely changed your life.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But we don't know. Like, who knows what would have happened if you did something differently.
Yeah. It's easier to look back in the past and think, oh, this is how this has shaped me, versus to think, how would this action have led to this in the future?
Yeah.
I think it's a lot easier to think in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Because we ultimately don't know. We don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Right.
Anything can happen.
Right.
And I think so many people look back on their lives and really are amazed by the path that their life has taken them. Like where they stand today and who they are. I think everyone has their own unique pathway in life or direction in life, and they've gone maybe they've strayed from the path or they took a different route from others, but ultimately, like where they are today has been the result of a lot of different, a lot of different decisions, a lot of different single steps that have led to where they are, which I think is beautiful.
But who knows? What if I bought that lotto ticket last week? Maybe I'll be a millionaire right now.
If you did win the lottery, 500 million, what would you do with it?
Okay. I think I'd first give back to my parents. I would make sure that they're comfortable for the rest of their lives. Like they could just quit their jobs and do whatever they want.
Yeah.
I'd probably try to find a way to set myself and the others I love around me up or good in the future. Probably want to buy a house. Nice backyard.
Yeah.
You know?
A lot of space.
Yeah. Big grand piano in the center. Right as soon as you walk in, it's the first thing you see. I don't know. It's a lot of money.
It is.
I don't even know what to do with that much.
I think you would find a way. You'd find something. Something to spend it on.
Yeah.
When you receive it, would you publicly reveal yourself, like, so that others know that you won the lottery?
I think California law makes it so you have to.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
If I had the choice, I wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the murder rate of people who win the lottery is like significantly higher than the murder rate of just a regular person.
Really?
Yeah, which makes sense. It's, there's a target on you as soon as you win a lot of money.
It's true. But they can't even steal that money unless you carry cash. Or is it just like out of jealousy?
No, I mean, like, they could kidnap your family member or something.
Hold them ransom.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're right.
Yeah. But it definitely wouldn't reveal it.
If
I won the lottery, first thing I'd do is get a lawyer and a financial advisor.
Smart.
The best that money can buy. And spend a lot of time thinking what I should do with the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So honestly, 500 is like too much to spend in one lifetime.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd be happy with like 5 mil.
5 mil?
I think 5 mil. I think you could live off 5 mil for the rest of your life. Let's say I live 60 more years. What's that? What's 5 mil divided by 60? Let's just do 50 years. It's like
10.
Is that 1 mil?
100.
That's a mil a year, right? 50 mil. 50 mil.
I was doing math.
50 mil, 50 years. That's a mil a year. You could easily live off. I don't think I need a lot of money to be happy. And $1 million a year is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a lot. But I think your mindset would shift.
Right.
Once you obtain that money,
right,
you'd always want more.
Right.
There's always some part of you that thinks like, what if I had more?
Right.
Because it's never enough.
Yeah. I think I'd split the 250. I'd split 250 and find ways to make money out of that. And then the rest kind of just for myself or the people I love. But yeah, it's easy for me to say that I wouldn't need a lot of things or I wouldn't care to have a lot of money. But my mindset could change.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I think I heard or read a study where it showed that people who make above $70,000 have the same relative level of happiness. So money can only buy you so much happiness.
Right.
Like the most important thing that money can do is serve your needs, right?
Right.
Is provide basic housing, food, clothing, basically just care for your essential needs without you having to stress about it.
Right.
And then afterwards, it's a question of what can you do with it that will maybe enhance your life. It could definitely enhance your quality of life, but the question of happiness.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I've always believed that money buys access to happiness, not necessarily happiness itself. Because if I was dirt broke, the only thing on my mind would be where I can get money and live off of what I have. But after a certain point when you can kind of take care of yourself and not worry about any financial costs like rent or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just what you want to do with it. I think I would just try a lot of things. Like I'd travel.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go to an expensive painting class, or
yeah,
just like different. I'd try to find things that make me happy with the money I have.
right.
Yeah.
Right. What does make you happy right now?
Right now?
Yeah. Besides piano.
Nothing.
There has to be something.
I guess games. I've been playing a lot of RuneScape lately.
Okay.
That's been eating up most of my time at home. But I don't know if it makes me happy. It just kind of brings some dopamine to the brain.
Right.
Which maybe that is happiness. I don't know. But like what truly makes me like happy?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a single thing that does. Yeah, like I said, this past month I've kind of been in a rut, so
right.
I haven't really been too happy. So
it's hard to think of things that.
Yeah.
What has made you happy in the past?
Piano for sure. I think meeting people and being exposed to new things, that makes me happy. But those things don't always last forever, I guess. I mean, piano will always be there, right? But constantly being exposed to new ideas and new people, that's not guaranteed.
I think that's okay, because happiness, like all emotions, happiness is fleeting.
Yeah.
Right? It's something you experience in the moment.
Yeah.
And if you try and capture and hold on to it, you can't really feel happy. Right? You can't enjoy it. You can't experience it in the fullest.
Yeah. Oh, actually, this past camping trip I did, I was happy.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
It was a fun trip.
It was a fun trip. Yeah. I've learned how to fish now. So I've learned how to do the knots necessary to like set up a fishing rod and start fishing.
Yeah.
I caught a baby trout.
Ooh.
Caught a baby trout. That was cool. Yeah. I mean, looking back, it kind of makes me happy, but just the way I caught the baby trout was not very exciting.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was like,
I kind of just casted it and waited like 5 minutes, and then I reeled it up and I was like, oh, it's a baby trout.
Oh,
cool.
It's just anticlimactic.
Yeah. But no, I mean, that camping trip was a lot of fun. Definitely made me very happy. Yeah.
Did you catch anything else?
No.
Oh.
No, I bluegills. Bunch of little small fish with blue
Gills.
cheeks. Yeah, bluegills. Yeah.
Okay.
I caught maybe 3 of those. Yeah. Fishing is a lot of fun. Yeah.
Can never have the patience for it.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could. I think you'd love the idea of just throwing it out you pulling up your Kindle and start reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could do whatever you want when, because fishing just takes so much time,
Yeah.
You're doing nothing for a lot of the time.
Yeah. It's a lot of waiting. Were you camping in a forested area, like surrounded by trees?
Yeah. It was a forested area. It was in the San Bernardino National Forest. It was like a 5-minute drive to the lake. Yeah. There's a lot of wildlife, a lot of birds, squirrels. One thing about squirrels, I love looking at the different, I guess, types of squirrels. Yeah, because I was comparing these squirrels to like squirrels in Tahoe. Tahoe is such like longer and bushier tails. These squirrels over here, they had like white tipped fur, and they're like small, less bushier tails.
Yeah,
that's why I love looking at the different squirrels in different areas of California.
Yeah, it's like wildlife observation.
Yeah. There's like, we saw a deer at the very end. Yeah, like the deer came off like a super steep cliff, and like we almost like crashed into it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere, just running down, and then it ran off the right side of the road to like another steep cliff. So it's kind of crazy.
You had places to be.
Yeah. That was cool. It's always nice to camp, to be honest.
Yeah. To be out under the stars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see a shooting star though. Alex did, but another friend of ours got to, but I didn't.
Next time.
Yeah.
I heard that there was a study that was done that showed that trees actually produce a chemical that makes us humans more relaxed and happy. Which I can believe.
Yeah. I've also read a study about neighborhoods that have more green are overall more happier than, like city neighborhoods where there's just a bunch of buildings and stuff.
Yeah, like skyrise buildings, just a lot of streets. Yeah. Like the impacts that being in nature has on us, it's so relaxing, right? There's a deep connection that we have as humans to trees. It's very hard to recognize when you have it in a sense, because at least for me, because I live in the city, and there's not much green surrounding me. So I notice like whenever I do go to a very forested area with a lot of trees, like it's so much easier for me to feel relaxed.
Right.
For me to be at peace with myself.
It's nice because, it's like a 5-minute drive to really big park back in the valley, but in Los Angeles, it'd be like 20 plus minute drive to a big park or something. I don't know, but yeah.
And the parks here aren't really like filled with trees, right? They're mostly like smaller. Like they put in like some playgrounds, some climbing apparatus for kids.
Right.
It's generally smaller parks. I think that's something that I keep telling myself I need to go hiking more.
Right.
But I never get around to do it.
Yeah. I mean, hiking takes a lot of prep, a lot of things to do before you even go.
Yeah.
And hiking generally takes up like most of the day. So, I mean, it's hard to plan around.
What is something that you want to do more of?
Or maybe read. I've been reading a little bit more, especially after the camping trip.
Yeah.
I started the book East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Pretty good book so far. I think I'm on like the 5th chapter or something, but it's mostly character development right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been enjoying that a lot lately. Yeah, I was reading last night. I think because before I would only read like self-help books or those kinds of books.
Yeah.
But I think I enjoy reading more story-based books more. Yeah.
Something I realized, it's hard to force yourself to read something that you're not interested in.
Right.
It just gets you to read less and less. But if you actually read something that you like and that you're invested in, you're definitely more likely to read a lot more. Yeah. Were you reading on your camping trip, during your camping trip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much when I started the book. Just whenever I was like kind of to myself and I had downtime. I brought my Kindle everywhere, so it's nice. Yeah.
Super convenient.
Battery life on that thing is insane.
Yeah. You can go like a whole month before I have to charge it.
Yeah.
Of course, it depends on how much you use it and how much you read, but it is there's a lot.
Oh, gym. I got a gym more. I think I'm going to go to the gym with Chris on Monday. He's going to make me go. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of things there. Definitely would like to go to the park more.
Yeah.
Just read, set up a picnic blanket, and then just read for a couple hours. And if I get bored of that, play basketball. Want to get better at that. But yeah, I think those are some things that I'd like to do more of.
Yeah. All right. Last question before we end off here. What is the next step for you?
What's the next step?
You did talk about a little bit about how you're looking forward to your next semester of school and being engaged with your club and a lot of that. What else? What else are you looking forward to in life? What else? What's coming up next in your life?
Yeah. I guess getting through this summer is the next step for me. So I'm going to be going to the Philippines in the next couple of weeks, like 2 weeks I'll be going. Then I'll be gone for about a month. So I guess my immediate next step is to just relax and enjoy the Philippines, spend time with family, see the grandma, just enjoy that. Yeah. And I live in like the countryside of the Philippines, so it's a lot of just like a lot of rural life. So I'll have a lot of downtime. Yeah, probably be reading more, journaling, just enjoying the whole environment. Yeah, so I'll be leaving June 26th and then coming back July 19. So good, about a month. Yeah. Then from there, probably just work. I just work till school starts. Yeah. Right. That's my immediate next step.
Sounds good.
Yeah. A lot of relaxing.
Yeah. Philippines trip sounds very nice.
Yeah. And then I think for about a week, we're going to Singapore too. See how that is. Yeah. I hear a lot of good things about like chili crab, something like that. Ooh. Or they have good fried rice there. Yeah. So
you're going to try all the street foods?
Oh, come on. Yeah. I want to try everything I can. Yeah. Looking forward to that. Spending time with family and enjoying the things I have. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Serbin. Thank you so much for joining me on this podcast.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to leave off on? Anything last that you'd like to say?
Take that next step. And when you look back, you'll see you walked a mile.
I love it. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.